Picture this. You're having the worst week of your life. Your car broke down. Your relationship is rocky. Work is overwhelming. And your bank account is looking pretty scary. Then someone asks how you're doing, and you flash that forced smile and say, "Everything's fine. It's all good." But deep down, you're screaming inside because nothing feels fine at all. We've all been there, right? Using those phrases as a shield, pretending everything's okay when it's clearly not. But what if I told you that everything is all right and it's all good? Could mean something completely different. Something that could actually transform how you experience life's inevitable challenges. Today, I want to share with you a profound shift in perspective that changed everything for me, and I believe it can change everything for you too. It's about understanding what it truly means to allow, to let go, and to find peace even when life feels like it's falling apart. Most of us have been taught that saying everything's all right is either denial or positive thinking. We're basically lying to ourselves, trying to convince our minds that problems don't exist. But this approach always backfires because reality has a way of making itself known, doesn't it? You can't think your way out of a genuine crisis, and pretending problems don't exist only makes them grow bigger in the shadows. Here's the problem with our usual approach. We believe that for everything to be all right, things need to be exactly as we want them to be. We think we need to control every outcome, manage every variable, and force life to conform to our personal blueprint of how things should unfold. But this creates a constant state of resistance against what actually is. Think about it. How much of your mental energy goes into fighting reality? How often do you find yourself saying, "This shouldn't be happening," or "If only this would change, then I'd be happy"? This resistance is exhausting, and it's the source of most of our suffering. Let me share what everything is all right really means, and why this understanding can set you free. When you say everything is all right, from this deeper perspective, you're not saying that circumstances are perfect or that you're getting everything you want. Instead, you're recognizing something profound, that there's a universal intelligence, a greater consciousness at work that sees the bigger picture you can't see. Imagine you're watching a movie, but you can only see one corner of the screen. From your limited viewpoint, the story might seem chaotic, unfair, or meaningless. But if you could step back and see the entire screen, you'd understand how every scene serves the larger narrative. That's what's happening in your life right now. This universal intelligence isn't some distant deity making arbitrary decisions. It's the same intelligence that grows trees, heals wounds, and orchestrates the dance of galaxies. It's the consciousness that you are an expression of, and it's constantly working for the highest good of all, even when you can't see how. Here's the beautiful paradox. When you truly understand that everything is an expression of this one universal consciousness, you realize that you're not separate from it. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're actually participating in what some call the play of consciousness, where you're simultaneously the actor, the writer, the producer, and the audience of your own life experience. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action. Far from it. It means you stop resisting what is while still engaging with life fully. You become what I call a conscious participant, rather than a resistant fighter. Let me give you a personal example. A few years ago, I lost a job that I thought was perfect for me. My immediate reaction was anger, fear, and resistance. This shouldn't be happening. I did everything right. I spent weeks fighting the reality of the situation, making myself miserable and blocking any possibility of seeing new opportunities. But then I remembered this teaching about allowing. I took a step back and asked myself, what if this is actually working out for my highest good, even though I can't see how right now? I didn't stop looking for new work, but I stopped resisting what had already happened. Within a month, I found a position that was infinitely better than the one I'd lost, leading to opportunities I never could have imagined. This is what happens when we move from fighting reality to dancing with it. We don't become passive, we become responsive. We don't give up our power. We align it with something greater than our limited perspective. The science backs this up beautifully. Research in neuroscience shows that when we're in a state of resistance, our brains literally narrow our perception. The stress response shuts down our prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for creative problem solving and seeing new possibilities. But when we shift into acceptance, our brains open up to new neural pathways. Dr. Rick Hanson's research on neuroplasticity demonstrates that acceptance practices actually rewire our brains for resilience and well-being. Studies show that people who practice this skill experience lower levels of anxiety, depression, and chronic stress. They're also more likely to take effective action because they're not wasting energy on resistance. What this means is that allowing isn't just a nice philosophy. It's a scientifically method for literally rewiring your brain for greater peace and effectiveness. But how do you actually practice this? How do you shift from resistance to allowing? First, become a witness to your own experience. When something challenging happens, take a metaphorical step back and observe your reaction. Notice the resistance, the shoulds and shouldn'ts running through your mind. This isn't about judging these thoughts, just observing them. Second, practice the phrase, "What if this is working out for my highest good?" Not as a positive affirmation, but as a genuine question that opens your mind to possibilities you can't currently see. This question shifts you from the narrow focus of resistance to the wider angle of curiosity. Third, remember that allowing doesn't mean doing nothing. You can take action while remaining unattached to specific outcomes. You can work toward your goals while trusting that the universe knows more than you do about what's ultimately best. Here's a practical exercise. Think of something in your life that you've been resisting. Instead of immediately going into problem-solving mode, simply breathe and ask yourself, what if this situation is here to teach me something I need to learn? Notice how the tight grip of resistance begins to loosen, creating space for new possibilities to emerge. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about becoming passive or accepting abuse or injustice. If you're in a harmful situation, take action to change it, but do it from a place of clarity and wisdom rather than reactive resistance. There's a crucial distinction here. Allowing what is doesn't mean allowing what shouldn't be. You can accept that something is happening without the added layer of mental resistance that makes everything worse. When you act from clarity rather than resistance, your actions are more effective, and you're more likely to find solutions that serve everyone involved. The poet Rumi wrote, "Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment." This is what he meant. Sometimes our ego's idea of what should happen is actually limiting us from something far greater than we could imagine. When you master this art of allowing, everything changes. You still experience challenges, but they no longer dominate your inner world. You develop what I call unshakable peace, a deep knowing that regardless of temporary circumstances, you're held and guided by something greater than your limited perspective. I've seen this transformation countless times. People who've lost jobs and discovered better careers, those who've gone through difficult divorces and found their true strength, individuals who've faced health challenges and discovered new depths of resilience. These aren't just feel-good stories, they're examples of what happens when we stop fighting the current of life and start flowing with it. You'll find that solutions appear more easily because you're not blocking them with resistance. Relationships improve because you're not trying to control others. Opportunities multiply because you're open to paths you previously couldn't see. Most importantly, you'll discover that you're not just surviving life. You're participating in a magnificent play of consciousness where every experience, pleasant or challenging, is serving your ultimate awakening and growth. This is the true meaning of everything is all right. It's not denial or wishful thinking. It's the deepest wisdom, trusting that you're part of a perfect unfolding even when you can't see the perfection yet. I want to leave you with a 7-day challenge. For the next week, whenever you face a difficult situation, instead of immediately going into resistance mode, pause and ask yourself, what if this is working out for my highest good? Then take whatever action feels right, but without the desperate energy of resistance. Try it with small things first. Traffic jams, delayed flights, unexpected changes in plans. Notice how this simple shift in perspective changes your entire experience. Pay attention to the physical sensations in your body when you move from resistance to allowing. Feel how your shoulders relax, how your breathing deepens, how your mind becomes clearer. Document your observations. What do you notice about your stress levels, your problem-solving abilities, your overall sense of peace? I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. Share your biggest insight from this challenge. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Remember, you're not just living your life, you're participating in the cosmic play of consciousness itself. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and know that everything truly is all right, even when it doesn't look like it. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more wisdom that can transform how you experience life. What's one area where you're ready to practice allowing instead of resisting? Share it in the comments. Your vulnerability might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Until next time, remember, you are the actor, the writer, the producer, and the audience in this beautiful play of consciousness. Enjoy every moment of it.